Thank you for subscribing to our channel. Today is Tuesday, March 23, 2021. CNN report. Manchin opposes House gun safety bills, underscoring Democratic divide over gun control. Sen. Joe Manchin, a centrist Democrat from West Virginia, said Tuesday that he does not support the two gun safety bills the House passed earlier this month and instead is still pushing to pass the more narrow Manchin-Toomey compromise bill that he developed with Republican Sen. Pat Toomey, but failed to pass, after the Sandy Hook Elementary School mass shooting. "No, I don't support what the House passed," Manchin told CNN as he left the Senate floor.
Deutsche Welle report. Israel election. Exit polls show Netanyahu's Likud party in the lead. As the polls closed in Israel for the country's fourth election in 2 years on Tuesday, the political future of Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu remained unclear. Voting locations closed at 10 p.m. local time, 2000 GMT. Exit polls released by Israeli broadcasters projected Netanyahu's right-wing Likud party would take between 31 and 33 seats in the Knesset, with rival Lapid Yesh Atid winning 16 to 18 seats.
Fox report. Boulder shooting suspect Ahmad al-Alevi Alyssa. What we know. More details are emerging the day after a 21-year-old identified as the alleged suspect killed 10 people, including a police officer, during a mass shooting at a Boulder, Colorado, grocery store this week. The suspect allegedly bought the assault rifle used in the attack 6 days earlier, and was known by former classmates to be short-tempered and paranoid, according to reports and an arrest affidavit released Tuesday.
CNN report. Belize football team bus held up by insurgents on motorcycles in Haiti ahead of 2022 World Cup qualifier. Belize's Football Federation, FFB, expressed disappointment and disgust on Monday after the team bus carrying the squad from the airport to their hotel was stopped by an uproar of insurgents with assault rifles on motorcycles. The incident occurred on Monday morning after the squad arrived in the country's capital, Port-au-Prince, ahead of their 2022 World Cup qualifier. Despite the 4-man police escort, the team bus was stopped by an uproar of insurgents with assault rifles on motorcycles, and police escorts were forced to negotiate with them for the team bus to continue its journey to the hotel, the FFB said in a statement on its Facebook page.
BBC report. Cox's bizarre fire. "I wanted to save them even if I died doing so." As the fire engulfed thousands of makeshift shelters, Saif al-Arakani, a 25-year-old refugee, ran straight into the toxic smoke to help find survivors. "People were turning to ashes in front of my eyes," Saiful said. Along with several other volunteers, Saiful used his jacket and blankets to help save those being badly burned by the fire. Saiful, a professional photographer, was only carrying his phone, but he managed to grab snapshots of the chaos and destruction.
Deutsche Welle report. Ethiopia PM admits Eritrean troops were in Tigray. Ethiopian Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed confirmed on Tuesday that troops from Eritrea were involved in fighting in northern Tigray. It's the first official acknowledgement of neighboring Eritrea's involvement in the conflict, coming after months of denials and reports of human rights abuses. In a wide-ranging parliamentary address, Abiy said that Eritrean troops crossed the border into northern Tigray after fighting broke out in November last year.
CNN report. Germany to go into hard Easter lockdown as COVID-19 infections soar. German Chancellor Angela Merkel on Tuesday announced a hard 5-day lockdown over Easter, as the country battles a sharp rise in new coronavirus infections. Almost all shops will be closed over the Easter period from April 1 to 5, and no more than 5 people over the age of 14 from 2 households can gather. Grocery stores would be allowed to open for 1 day only, on Saturday, April 3. The country's general lockdown measures will also be extended until April 18, Merkel said.
Al Jazeera report. Fed to create committee to respond to climate change risks. The Federal Reserve plans to make climate change a major part of its Wall Street oversight by creating a new committee that will identify and respond to dangers a warming planet poses to the financial system. The Financial Stability Climate Committee will be charged with developing and implementing a program to assess and address climate-related risks to financial stability, Fed Governor Lael Brainerd said in a Tuesday speech.
Deutsche Welle report. Bangladesh. 14 given death penalty over plot to kill PM Sheikh Hasina. 14 Islamist militants were handed down death sentences by a Dhaka court on Tuesday for trying to assassinate Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina more than 2 decades ago. The special court in Dhaka read the verdict in the presence of 9 defendants. 5 others remain fugitives. All 14 were found guilty of sedition and criminal conspiracy. Prosecutor Abu Abdullah Boulian told AFP news agency. They are Islamist extremists belonging to the Harkat ul-Jihad al-Islami, Huji, he said, referring to a banned militant organization blamed for a series of deadly bombings and attacks in Bangladesh.
CNN report. Fact check. Madison Cawthorn falsely claimed there are $0 spent on homeless veterans. It's actually more than $2 billion this year. Rep. Madison Cawthorn, a North Carolina Republican who has a history of egregious false claims, posted another one Sunday on Twitter. Cawthorn was criticizing a new $86.9 million federal contract to house some migrant families in hotel rooms as they await legal proceedings to remove them from the U.S. Other migrant families are being swiftly expelled without a court process. The Biden admin just dropped $86 million to get hotel rooms for illegal immigrants, yet we have $0 going to our homeless veterans who are at a high risk of suicide. Unacceptable. Un-American. Quote.
BBC report. Australia floods. Rains ease, but fears persist over water levels. Parts of New South Wales have seen almost 1 meter, 3.2 feet, of rain, flooding hundreds of homes and severing roads. Despite the rains subsiding, water levels have not yet peaked in some areas, the Bureau of Meteorology says. Around 18,000 people in NSW have been displaced. It is catastrophic in its dimensions, said NSW Premier Gladys Berejiklian. Prime Minister Scott Morrison said Western Sydney was now the greatest concern.
Fox report. Colombian town uses discipline, speakers to stay virus-free. When customers enter his hardware store, Nelson Avila asks them to wear a mask and wash their hands. He sprays alcohol over the bills and coins they give him before putting them in the till. Avila's shop is in Campo Hermoso, a town of 3,000 people in Boyacá state in the mountains of central Colombia that has no reported cases of the coronavirus. According to the health ministry, Campo Hermoso County, which consists of the town and surrounding farms and villages, is one of just 2 counties in the country that are COVID-19 free.
Al Jazeera report. EU refuses to approve Frontex's budget over human rights concerns. European Union lawmakers on Tuesday refused to sign off on the budget of the EU's Border and Coast Guard Agency over concerns about allegations of rights violations, hiring failures and harassment by senior Frontex staff. The European Parliament's Budgetary Control Committee voted by 22-3, with 5 abstentions, to postpone its endorsement of Frontex's 2019 budget, until additional clarifications are brought on a series of issues.
Fox report. Saint Teresa of Calcutta. What to know about the heroic Catholic nun, Nobel Peace Prize recipient. Street. Teresa of Calcutta, or Mother Teresa, is often held up as a symbol of selflessness and extreme devotion to charity. As the founder of the Missionaries of Charity and recipient of numerous awards, she is perhaps one of the most iconic figures of the 20th century. Born Agnes Ganja Boyagiu in Skopje, Macedonia, she experienced tragedy at a young age with the death of her father. According to biography.
Fox report. Virginia murderer, sex offender to get early release in 15-year-old strangling. A Virginia murderer who strangled a 15-year-old girl in 1988 after claiming he'd had consensual sex with her will walk free next week after 32 years in prison. A year after the crime, Gregory Joyner, of Lynchburg, Virginia, received a life sentence plus 10 years for an additional conviction of attempted rape, the maximum sentences for each offense. He was 17 at the time. He confessed to strangling Sarah Jameson and burying her in the woods near her parents' house.
Al Jazeera report. George Floyd trial. Jury set. Arguments to begin on March 29. A jury has been seated in the U.S. city of Minneapolis, Minnesota for the trial of a former police officer in George Floyd's death. with opening statements set for March 29 in a case that led to weeks of protests and soul-searching about racial justice. The final juror was chosen on Tuesday, wrapping up a process that took more than 2 weeks and was complicated by worldwide attention to Floyd's death, even before the city of Minneapolis announced a $27 million settlement to his family early in the process.
BBC report. Harry to become Chief Impact Officer at U.S. coaching firm BetterUp. It also comes after the Duke and Meghan gave an explosive interview to Oprah Winfrey earlier this month. In it, the couple alleged an unnamed royal family member had asked about how dark their son Archie's skin might be before he was born. In his statement, Prince Harry said his goal in his new function would be to lift up critical dialogues around mental health, build supportive and compassionate communities, and foster an environment for honest and vulnerable conversations.
Thank you for watching 5 p.m. recap. To be notified, you can subscribe our channel and activate the bell.